I installed the same kitchen backsplash twice. One version cost me $61. The other cost $389. And when I stood in front of them under the same lighting, what I found out about where a backsplash actually earns its price tag is going to change how you renovate your kitchen. Stick around, because at the end I'm going to show you the one spot where the cheap version almost fooled me completely. Quick thing before we start. If you like honest before and after breakdowns like this one, hit subscribe, because this is the second video in my budget versus splurge series and I've already got the next 3 planned. Every week I get some version of the same comment. Can I get a designer kitchen look without a designer budget, or am I kidding myself? So instead of answering with an opinion, I decided to test it. Same kitchen, same wall, same style target. A classic subway tile backsplash, one of the most requested looks in my inbox. I built one version as cheap as I could responsibly go, and one version the way a contractor would actually spec it in 2026. No shortcuts hidden on either side, just 2 honest installs, side by side. For the budget wall, I used peel and stick vinyl subway tile sheets from the hardware store, running about $9 a square foot. No mortar, no grout, no wet saw. I measured the wall, dry fit the sheets to plan my seams, and started at the most visible corner so any misalignment would end up hidden near the outlets instead of dead center. For cutting around outlets and the edge of the cabinets, I just used a utility knife and a straight edge, no tile-specific tools at all. For adhesion, the sheets are self-stick, so the only real skill involved was pressing firmly and rolling out air bubbles with a plastic scraper as I went. Start to finish, this took about 2 hours, and almost all of that time was spent dry-fitting sheets and planning seams before I peeled a single backing off. Because with peel and stick, you get 1 shot per sheet, no repositioning once it grabs the wall. For the splurge wall, everything changed from step 1. I used real ceramic subway tile, individually set in thin-set mortar with a notched trowel, spaced with actual tile spacers instead of eyeballing gaps. Every tile got back-buttered before it went up, which is tedious but eliminates hollow spots you can hear when you knock on the wall later. Instead of a utility knife, cuts around outlets and cabinet edges were made with a wet tile saw, which gives clean, chip-free edges instead of the slightly rough cut lines you get from scoring vinyl. After the tile cured overnight, I grouted with a slightly tinted grout instead of stock white, because a warm grey grout reads more intentional and less like a rental unit. I also added one extra detail that made a bigger difference than I expected. A thin pencil tile trim strip running along the top edge where the backsplash meets the open shelving. That single decorative row cost almost as much as the entire vinyl install. This build took close to 7 hours across 2 days, mostly because of mortar and grout cure times, and a good chunk of that time went into details most people would never consciously clock. They just sense the kitchen looks more expensive without knowing exactly why. Let's actually look at where the money went. The budget wall came to $61 total. The peel and stick sheets, a utility knife blade refill I already needed anyway, and a small tube of cork for the top seam. The splurge wall came to $389. Real ceramic tile, thin-set mortar, grout, tile spacers, the pencil tile trim strip, and a rented wet saw, priced in even though a lot of people already own one, just to keep the comparison fair. That's roughly 6 times the cost difference. So the real question is, does it look 6 times better? A split screen reveal. Here's the part you've been waiting for. Budget wall on the left, splurge wall on the right, full split screen, same kitchen lighting. Take a second and really look at both before I say anything. From across the kitchen, from where you'd actually be standing while cooking or talking to a guest at the counter, can you tell which one costs $61 and which one costs $389? Most people can't, not at a glance. The grout lines look close enough in width and color that your eye reads them as the same system. The white tile color matches almost exactly under this lighting. If I'd only shown you the peel and stick wall by itself, I think most people would have assumed it was real tile. A close-up comparison, but here's where it gets interesting, and this is the moment I promised you at the start. Let's move in close, because this is exactly where the 2 walls stop looking the same. Up close, the real tile has actual depth and a slight glossy variation from tile to tile, while the vinyl sheet has a flat, uniform sheen that reads as printed the moment you're a foot away from it. The grout lines on the real tile have genuine texture and dimension, On the peel and stick version, the grout line is just a printed grey stripe, and it's obvious once you touch it or catch a side light across it. That pencil tile trim at the top of the splurge wall adds a genuine architectural detail that the budget version has no way to replicate, no matter how good the print is. On the flip side, the seams between vinyl sheets become visible once you're standing right at the counter, especially near the window where daylight rakes across the wall. The real tile wall has no seams to find at all, just grout everywhere, consistently. So the honest answer is, from normal cooking distance, in photos, and in almost every everyday moment in that kitchen, these two walls read as nearly the same thing. The $328 gap only shows up when you're standing close enough to touch it, or when direct side light hits the wall at the wrong angle. If I did the budget version again, there are two small upgrades I'd make without adding real cost. First, I'd buy the slightly thicker, textured peel and stick option instead of the flattest one, because that texture alone closes a big chunk of the printed look under side lighting. Second, I'd add a real cork line tinted to match the grout color at the top and bottom edges instead of clear cork, because that's the seam guests are most likely to notice up close, and it costs almost nothing to fix. The honest verdict, so here's my honest take, and I'm not going to dress this up into something dramatic just to wrap it neatly. If you're renovating a kitchen you plan to sell, or if you're someone who's going to run your hand along that backsplash and study it under bright task lighting every single day, the real tile is genuinely worth the extra money. That texture and that trim detail are doing real, visible work. But if this is a kitchen you're going to cook in, live in, and actually enjoy rather than inspect, the peel and stick wall gets you about 90% of the visual result for about 15% of the cost. The real lesson from this whole test isn't that real tile is a waste of money. It's that lighting angle and a slightly better material choice at the cheap end will change your result more than almost any amount of extra spending on premium tile ever will. If this comparison changed how you're thinking about your own kitchen, tell me in the comments which wall you'd actually put behind your own stove, budget or splurge. I read every comment on these. And if you want to see this same test done on a bathroom vanity backsplash or a laundry room built-in next, make sure you're subscribed so you catch it the moment it drops.